Great to see you all in Trek. Let's go ahead and get it. Previously in Trek, we talked about how the unmade God, who created everything out of nothing, created humans, you and me, in the image of God. And we talked about how God created humans with boundaries, with good intentions. So with that, I gave you a challenge to go ahead and use the #1 downloaded Bible app in the world, the YouVersion, and then to create a Bible verse picture, James 1:17, accordingly. And ladies and gentlemen, we have the submission. A shout out to Christy, Ian, Cuban, Alex, Ben, and Abby for their designs. One of the best ways that I have used over the years to encourage myself and others is this app to make these amazing pictures of God's words and God's promise and to share with others, and including sharing my phone. So I hope that you can continue to use this. So thank you guys once again for your submission. Now, here's the thing though. When you look at these pictures, have you noticed something? They all use the same verse and they use the same app. But isn't it crazy how all 6 of them came up with the completely different designs? And I think that is a great segue for, once again, us to know that God has created every single one of us uniquely and differently. And that all began when God first created male and female. The beginning of the first community in human history. So now let's check out Genesis. God first created the whole universe and the nature, and He created first male, Adam, to enjoy and take care of everything. Do you see Adam on that picture, by the way? And one of the things that Adam did is by naming the animals. So imagine this with me, as Adam's just like walking, right? And all of a sudden, he sees that thing. He's like, oh, you're jumping, kangaroo. And then this thing's boom, oh, whoa, that's a horse. And then there's like, ow, that's a crocodile. And then giraffe, right? He went through that process. But throughout this process, Adam continued his days, but God says something pretty profound, and He moves on with an action. What is that? The Lord God says, it is not good for the man to be alone. Meaning all animals have their pairs, but Adam was the only one without a partner. And one of the boundaries that God has made for humans is that we are created to be with other humans. So God then says, I will make a helper suitable for him. And ladies and gentlemen, what you have is the first lady of humankind, Eve. Well, let's stop right here, because this is when things get a little sensitive. This is a moment when some ladies are like, hold up a second. Helper? I for sure am more than just a helper, right? And did you know that throughout the history, this is the same exact verse that a lot of people, especially men, misuse to use their power over women? Yes, but that's the truth, right? But what I'm here to tell you right now, that this is an amazing verse, and it has a very different understanding. Let me give you 2 examples. First of all, did you know that language changes in its meanings throughout the time? Let me give you an example, like flex. Did you know this word simply means bending over repeatedly? That's what it means. But now when you and I say, yo, flex, we really mean that someone's trying to show off, right? That's what it means. So it's interesting how same word throughout the time changes its meaning. And same thing for helper. Helper, it really simply means that you are supporting someone to complete something. That's all it simply means. But now through our generations, I don't know why, but we have this understanding that when we say you're a helper, it has this like inferior feel to it. But that's not what it meant in this Bible. To make this point even stronger, here's a second example. Did you know that the Old Testament Bible is not written originally in English or Korean? Matter of fact, it's written in Hebrew. And Hebrew, this is a Hebrew word for helper. And how do you read that? You read it with the pronunciation Ezer. Ezer. But did you know that this word Ezer is used in other verses like Psalm 115:9, which says, O Lord of Israel, trust in the Lord. He is their help and shield. House of Israel, I meant. Lord, He is their help and shield. What this simply means, this is referring to God. And God is a helper. But in this verse, when they said help, guess which verb that they used? Ezer, right? So next time when someone uses Genesis 2:18, and when you know Genesis 2:18, and you see the word helper, you definitely know that this is not an inferior role whatsoever. Now, here's the thing though, as I'm reading this week's lesson, I came across this one question, which is this. Why did God create Adam and Eve differently? Why? Especially right now, you know what's happening all around the world with crazy amount of racism that's happening. And that's because we're not really able to appreciate each other's differences. Then my thing is, why didn't God just create every single one of us exactly the same? That could resolve so many issues that we see around the world. Well, the reason why God didn't do that is because when God created humans, unity is the goal that God had in mind. Unity is the goal that God had in mind. And unity can only happen when we recognize that we need one another. And God was very clear about this from the beginning when he created Adam, man, and Eve, woman, so differently that the only way that they are going to bear children in the next generation is through their loving relationship, only if they work together. And starting with Adam and Eve, this theme of different people working together applies in all lives. And this is how we know that humans are created for a diverse community to work together. Oh man, I hope that this is a message that all of us can live by. This year's theme of human. The humans are created for a diverse community to work together. So with that, I want to share, and I want to end with the true life example. Check this picture out. Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce Leroy and D'Artagnan. You know, ESPN, which is a network, that TV network that highlights sports, they recently, or a long time ago actually, made a short documentary of two high school students, and they're wrestlers. But what's crazy about their story is that Leroy, who's on the top, had both of his legs amputated by a freak accident when the train ran over both of his legs when he was only 11 years old. But D'Artagnan, who is carrying Leroy, the one at the bottom, though he looks quote-unquote normal, he is legally blind. So when they both entered high school, they both quickly became friends, where D'Artagnan starts to carry Leroy throughout practices to be Leroy's legs, while Leroy serves D'Artagnan to be his eyes on where to go. Their story was so inspiring that former ESPN Lisa Fenn decided to use her gift as a writer and producer to publicize their story, and the story inspired millions around the world. And their documentary film then becomes a book, which part of the money now goes to support Leroy and D'Artagnan and kids like them who both come from a broken home. And you see, Lisa, D'Artagnan, and Leroy made a diverse community to work together. And this is what God had in mind, starting through Adam and Eve. So before you engage in this week's discussion, here's a challenge. Till next Tuesday, search SC feature Carry On. Carry On is the documentary on Google, and watch this 20-minute video of D'Artagnan, Leroy, and Lisa. And after that, by the way, I hate to give you a spoiler alert, crazy things happens in their life after they got to meet one another. Anyways, when you watch it, send me an email with your quote from a story, or the sentence summary, or something that stood out to you, or you can even submit an artwork based on this video. So, as we wrap up, just like this story, know that Trek community is better because you are here. See you next time.